We are on Daf Bais Amid Aleph by the two dots, but I'm going to go back for 1 second. I'm mamish going to start from the top. So the Gemara had said that Rav Kahana said that Rav Nosson Bar Menyume darshan in the name of Reb Tanchuma. So I'm going to want to use that in a moment, who that was. So he said that in Echaneke, that's L'mayla Michafama, is Pasul Kesukah Chamavoy. So the question was why, and the answer was because it's hard to see. Some places can say you can't see it all. That's 40 feet up or to the side, or it's going to be, as we'll soon see, 40 feet down. I just wanted to make that point for a second. Now, the Omer of Kahana.
Rabbi, where are we up to? Sorry.
Chav Beis Amar
Where are we up
Aleph.
to?
Gitavach. Chav Beis Amar Aleph. Mamish to the second line.
Good luck. I kept my Shabbos Pagodim on.
Good for you.
Still my big day Shabbos.
Okay, very good. Speaking of which, we're not having Moav Malka together, but we can make a L'chaim together. We're going to make a L'chaim with you. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'akol niyeh b'dvarei.
Amen.
Okay,
Amen.
Moav Malka. Okay, so now the Gemara seems to say a statement for Rav Kahana also with the same drasha from on a different subject that seems to be unrelated. So there's a famous gra over here, which we're going to use a little bit for a number of things. So the first thing was that you can't put Ner Chanukah l'mayla from Chaf Amma. So I'm going to deal with this in a second. I think somebody Friday, I think it was Reb David, Rabbi Neumann mentioned over here, very good shot, kasha really. What about if you're in if you're on a second story or a 50th story, or if somebody's in a penthouse, Baruch Hashem, in a very high building, so of course he's higher than Chaf Amma. So the first one say it's not a problem because the problem is only if a person is outside and a normal person doesn't ever look higher than 20 amos. He looks up maybe till 19 amos, but not 20 amos. But in a house where the ceiling is connected to the walls, so a person always looks up. So according to that, by the way, it comes out that since by sukkah we have the same problem with schach, that many places can paskin based upon this kind of like Tanai in Lamayla Michaf Amma, that if you have schach, let's say you have a very big sukkah, much you go to the bub of, I happen to used to go to the bub of a sukkah, but the bub of a sukkah and all the big Rebbish sukkahs, they're all Lamayla Michaf Amma. So what's the pshat? So the teretz is that if the defanos go all the way up, so just like in your house, 20 amos is not a problem, the menorah can be very high. That was the kash. So the same thing is by a sukkah. If you're sitting in a very big sukkah, Rebbish sukkah, so it's not a problem because the defanis make your eye follow. Everybody knows that the defanis reach to the schach. Everybody wants to see what's hanging from the schach, what kind of noise sukkah hanging from the schach, so your eye will see it. But outside, if it's a question of will somebody for Persume Nisa see the nair of the menorah, the answer is no, because nobody looks up. You have to arch your neck, and it's uncomfortable. That's what many places can say. Okay, but I wanted to make a different point, as you'll see in a minute. So what else did Rav Nosson Bar Menyume say? Mishmei Rav Tanchum Maider Siv Va'boy Reik Ein Boy Moyim. So the pasuk says that when the brothers threw, that's the shiftei cup, when they threw Yosef into the bar, so Va'boy Reik Ein Boy Moyim. So the pasuk says the bar was empty; it didn't have any water. So now this is what he darshan, Rav Tanchum. Of course, if it's empty of everything, including water. So the drasha was that it doesn't have any water, but it had snakes and scorpions. So over here, the obvious question is that all the Mefarshim ask is that if Reuven wanted to save him, so how could he save him into a pit full of snakes and scorpions? There's a bunch of terutzim. One teretz is that Einachanami, the brothers knew that they were nechashim v'akravim, and Reuven couldn't help it. All the pits over there were full of nechashim v'akravim, and Reuven held that if he's a tzaddik, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will protect him, and if not, so then he deserves what he gets. The brothers again, it's machlokes rishonim. Some rishonim hold that they wanted to kill him. They held he's chayiv misa, so they threw him into nechashim v'akrabim, so he'll die. That was his punishment. But the Gra says over here that what's the connection between these two? It's only that Reb Tanchum Bar Minyume, Reb Nosson Bar Minyume said in the name of Reb Tanchum. No, he says like this. It's all about Esrim Amma, because 20 Amos works up and it also works down. So this was a very deep pit. So the Gra, this is in Divrei Elyo, by the way. I don't have it in front of me, but it's the Divrei Elyo. So in the Divrei Elyo, the Gra says that this is the two Reb Tanchums, that the brothers Taka didn't see any Nechashon V'Akrav. Now some Rishonim say, even without this whole drasha, they anticipated the Gra. They say, where do snakes and scorpions hang out? They're like underground. They're in some kind of a pit within a pit. So that's why they didn't see it, and they Taka didn't want to kill him at that point. They just wanted to sell him because they weren't sure if he's Chayiv Misa or not. But according to the Daya, that even that they didn't want to kill him. So, it says that there's Nechashon V'Akrav, but they didn't see it because there's 20 Amos down. That's what Reb Tanchum Bar Chaniloi wanted to tell us. That's what the Gra says. Azoizok the Gra. So based upon this, so we'll see later that, as I said, I want to use this Gra for a number of things, that the 20 Amos works in every direction, up, down, and even sideways. Okay, let's go further. Amar Rabbi said, Ner Chanukah, mitzvah lanicha b'tefach hasmucha lepesach. So there's another halach in Ner Chanukah. In the olden days, when they used to put, and in Eretz Yisrael today, by the way, when everybody puts their menorahs outside, all the Rebbe's Chanukah time, they take pictures. By the way, Nebuch, I finally got my Yated Naaman 2 seconds before Shabbos. So there's no middle section with pictures of Gedolim, because last week the Gedolim didn't go anywhere. Nobody came to the Gedolim, and certainly nobody took pictures. So it was like no section. They had some Chasana pictures, Nebuch, from 3 weeks ago, and some Rebbe pictures from last year, and that was about it. So all the thing over here is that the Rebbes always light in the Tefach Hasmucha LePesach, and that's what the Gemara says, that you don't. It doesn't matter about the window, because if you hold that it's the outside, especially in Eretz Yisrael, that's outside. So you have to put it by the Tefach Smucha LePesach. So the Gemara says, where exactly is that? So Rav Acha Brei Rava Ama Miyamin. So Rav Acha Brei Rava, it's on the right. So why on the right? So we're going to see in a moment. Rav Shmuel Midifta Amar Mismoil. He says it's on the left. The halach is that it's on the left. So that you should be surrounded by mitzvahs. So one thing's on the right, one thing's on the left, and each one of us is walking through the middle, and we're surrounded by mitzvahs. So the Rishonim bring over here that what's the inyan of being surrounded by mitzvahs? So because it says So Rashi says that the mezuzah has to be on the right, and people come through the right. A person who's a righty, it seems that this is everybody, because we're talking about the legs. So you move your right leg first. You move your right foot first. So other Rishonim say, that's Rashi. So other Rishonim bring over the pasuk that it says that in Hazinu that we should be surrounded by mitzvahs. That it's an inyan to be in the middle of mitzvahs. So we'll say the pasuk a little bit later on. So later on we'll talk about what about if it's reversed. What about something? Let's say if it's a place where there's no mezuzah for whatever reason, is there still an inyan to put the Ner Chanukah on the left, or maybe then you should put the Ner Chanukah on the right? That's also a shaila in Rishonim. Okay, let's go a bit further. Amar Yehudah, Amar Rav Asi. So Yehudah said, Rav Asi, we don't say over here Amar Rav. The Rishonim take it out. Also, lahartzis mois keneged ner Chanukah. You're not allowed to count money in front of a Chanukah lichtula. So it would seem that it's because of the kedusha of the ner Chanukah. Now it's very interesting that we say Haneres Halol Kodeshem ve'ein lanu reshus l'shtarmish b'hem. It's mamish built in. It's a brisa mesechta seifrim, and we say that it's an absolute halacha. But in the Gemara, it didn't seem that they had this halacha. They knew about it because they're still arguing about it, as we'll see in a minute. So Kemrus made the Shmuel So this was what Rav Yehudah said in the name of Ravasi, but when he said in the name of Shmuel, so he said the ner itself doesn't have any kedusha. So then there seems to be no problem. Where it says Maskeflo Rav Yosef, in other words, you could do whatever you want in front of the ner because the ner itself doesn't have kedusha. It's not a chefza de kedusha. We'll see in a minute a whole brisk of art on this. So Maskeflo Rav Yosef asked v'chi dam kedusha yesh b'it. So when a person is doing kisei adam, the whole parak in Chulin, that the halacha is that there's a certain way to cover the blood and a way not to cover the blood. As we see in the Sanya, we learn in Raisa, it says v'shofach v'chisou. It says that you should spill the blood and you should cover it with the earth. So by mesha shofach yichaze, however you spilled it, that's how you should cover it, meaning with your hand. You shouldn't chas v'sham just kick some dirt onto the blood. So over here, the Gemara says, so Hachanami also, so Rav Yosef says, so shaloi mitzvahs bezuyas alav. So in other words, there's a halacha of that you shouldn't disrespect this, like they call it. You shouldn't disrespect mitzvahs. So anytime that a person does something, he kicks the mitzvah, etc., etc. So for instance, after sukkahs, let's say people take down the sukkah, and there's a bunch of schach on the floor, and there's the defanis of the sukkah and everything else. You have to be careful not to step on it, which is sometimes very difficult, because that's the inyan also of shemis. According to many paiskim, it's shalayete mitzvahs bezuyas alav. You use something for a mitzvah, so you can't step on it, throw it away, etc. Crumple it up and throw it away. That's what
we just said the lulav. We're just talking about the lulav the other day.
And the lulav and the chanami. If you burn it, so you're not really burning the lulav. You're using the lulav, not this year probably. You're using the lulav to burn the chametz. That's recycling mitzvahs. That's a good thing to do. To recycle a mitzvah is a wonderful thing to do. So it's interesting that based upon that, there's a very big machlokes. Obviously, in Daf Yomi, we don't have the time. I see Rabbi over here. So even in Ari's wonderful Daf Yomi, he can't say over too many halachas. But this is a very interesting halacha that what kind of shemis can't you throw out? So there's a very strong daya. I believe Rabbi Yashiv also uses this daya extensively, that let's say all these sheets that are run off in shuls and schools. So when do you have to bury it, and when is it not shemis? So one of the sheets is that if you learned from it already, somebody that learned from a sheet, some of these sheets that we give out in our shul, other shuls, and somebody learned from it, so then it's a dvar mitzvah, and then you can't just throw it out. But let's say nobody touched it, nobody used it, it's the extras, nobody touched it, and then it wasn't used for a mitzvah. So the lashon over here is mitzvahs. Shaloi mitzvahs bezuyas alav. There's a sheet that has Torah on it, but it's not necessarily a mitzvah. I'm not talking about when there's a mitzvah, there's a pasuk printed. Pasuk printed, that has its own kedusha. But we're talking about the kedusha of the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. Okay. Now, Reb Moshe is very makel on this, by the way. Reb Moshe is unbelievably makel. Reb Moshe holds that if you have a sefer, like an entire sefer, but it wasn't bound originally. It was like, in loose leaf. So it's not shemis. Even though everybody learned it, somebody learned it for 20 years. You had the ksavim of Reb Chaim. They say certain of the big briskers, they had Reb Chaim's ksavim. So you learned from it, so what? But it wasn't bound. Binding is what makes it have kedusha. And Reb Moshe even holds that when it falls apart and there is no binding, so then you can just throw it out. But with derech eretz, you don't throw it out with the potato peels. Very interesting sheet. Okay, now, by Rabbi Shua ben Levi, they asked Rabbi Shua ben Levi, so let's say you have fruits that were hanging on the schach, and then they fell off. Are you allowed to use them or not? So Amalehem, Hare Amru, Asul Hartzos Mois connected their Chanukah. So he said, of course not, because just like you're not allowed to have hanoah from the burning of the Ner Chanukah, so if you're also the Nois Sukkah, you're not allowed to, because it was used as a mitzvah. So Amar Rav Yosef said, Morah Davrom, Tali Tanya Bidloi Tanya. He says, I don't understand. By in English sometimes they say by God, by the Lord, because Morah Davrom means the God of Avram. Why does it say, by the way, Badavka Morah Davrom? Because it says that Avram was Machtir HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol, because there was a time when nobody in the world believed in Hashem except for Avram Avinu, and Avram Avinu, it says in the beginning that he was kind of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he acquired, so to speak, the ability to say Morah Davrom. And now the Gemara uses the expression. Rav Yosef uses this expression throughout Shas. So anyway, so he said, Sukkah Tanya. So what it says that Sukkah is the decoration of the Sukkah. So that is in a brisa. But Chanukah Leitanya. But this halacha of Chanukah is not in a brisa. The Sanya, how do we know this? Because it says in brisa, Sichacha b'kilchasa. Let's say a person made a schach properly, Vitcha b'kramim v'sadinim v'tzayorim, and he decorated the Sukkah with curtains, with pictures, and all these type of things, with linens. The Tolaba guys a parsikin shkedav remind him. He hung up different fruits, nuts, peaches, almonds, and pomegranates, uparbile, anovim, v'atorah shel shibolim, and clusters of grapes, and also like these crowns made out of grain that they used to have. So yener shmanim uslosos. Or now he put up jars. This would seem to be some kind of a shelf or something with wine, oil, fine flour. The best of flour, slusos is the best of flour. So also is topic ban. So you're not allowed to use these things during Yom Tov. Ad matzah Yom Tov achim shulchag, until Yom Tov is completely over. However, if hisna aleim, you could make a t'nai. And if you made a t'nai that if the fruits fall off during Chol HaMoed, then you can use them Chol HaMoed and even the second days. So anyway, so Rabbi Yosef says, Elohim Rabbi Yosef, Abu and the Kulo Dam. The source of all of these halachas of that you're not allowed to be mevazah mitzvahs is from Kisui Adam, and therefore if the halacha is from Kisui Adam, so then the halacha is like this, that what do we learn from over here? That you have to treat it respectfully, and since that's the source, so Sukkah and Chanukah, everything comes from Kisui Adam. Now the Gemara is going to talk a little bit more about this. Itmar, we learned, Rabbi, now this is a mamish halach and shulchan aruch. We happen to pass that you're allowed to be madlik miner liner. In other words, let's say that you're supposed to have a shamas for this, but let's say you didn't have a shamas, the shamas burnt out, or some of the old menorahs, like one of mine, doesn't have a shamas, broke off or whatever. Let's say you don't have a shamas. Can you light from one ner to the other? So there's a machlokes amaroy. So Rabbi may madlik ner, that would be disrespectful. Shmuel says that you can't. So Rav, the same machlokes by tzitzis. Rabbi may matir and tzitzis mi beged lebeged. Let's say the beged is old, but the tzitzis is still good. So can you take off the tzitzis and bring them from one beged to another beged? So Rav says you can't do shmol matiri beged the beged. You can cut it off the beged and put it on another beged. So Rav So now Rav also says that when it comes to schlepping like a chair in the I don't know if anybody's been outdoors, but it was a nice day, not today, but recently a couple of nice days. So last Shabbos was nice. I think this Shabbos was not so much. Can you schlep on Shabbos a chair or a bed, as we'll soon see, and if it's going to make a furrow, it's going to look like that you're doing charisha. It looks like you're plowing. And other things, but it might even be bona. So what's the machlokes? There's a famous machlokes if you hold that davar she'ein miskaven is asur or davar she'ein miskaven is mutter. So if you just take a look in Rashi for a second, so Rashi says halacha k'Reb Shimon. The Amad Davar She'ein Miskaven Mutter, the Avagav Dekov V'Charitz. You made a furrow. You made a mark in the ground. Vavi told the Dechayr Shaybayna Ushum Dehuch Zekurav B'Isurei B'Kul Hashas Barmiyan Itlasnik Tinigabi Adodi. So these things are together because we paskin generally like Rav in all Isurim, except in Hilchus Maminis when we paskin like Shmuel. And over here, these three things we paskin together. That's why the Gemara lumped them together. Some Rabbi said based upon this, Kol Mil Demar Ovid Kurav. So in all of when Rabbi Bar Nachmani, who's Abaye's Rebbe, so whatever he did, he followed like Rav. Except for these things that he did like Shmuel. Madlikim in Lener, that was what we just learned. And the fact that we're not worried, Reb Shimon holds, like we just saw in Rashi, that davar she'ein miskaven is mutter. So over here, he said that we pass like Reb Shimon. So now, but the Sanya, how do we know this? Also, Reb Gemara says Rabbi Shimon Aimer Garod and Mitakisa v'Savsol. So this is the marker where Reb Shimon says that davar she'ein miskaven is mutter. So a person can schlep a bed or a chair or a bench or as long as you don't have kavana. So now the Gemara says. Now this is very interesting, very unusual that this is an Amira. We don't know who he is, and we don't ever find out. But he becomes a man di'oma. In other words, even though Ravada Barahava knocks him down, but the Gemara holds that he's a chashuva amayra, and we should discuss what he holds. So the Gemara says like this: he said, "Time to do Rav Mishum Bizui Mitzvah." Why did Rav say that ein madlikim in ner l'ner? Because you're going to be mevaza the previous ner. So we'll soon see what that means. It seems that this ner, you're just using it. You're using it for a mitzvah. So he seems to hold that you even using for a mitzvah is a bizoyim. So amalahu. Now we just learned before. Yes, he just brought it up about using the lulav to burn the chametz. So we do all the recycling mitzvahs. Many Rishonim ask this kasha. So what's the problem over here? Madlikim miner l'ner. But that's all when the lulav was finished already. Sukkos. Coming up to Pesach, so all of a sudden there's not much you can do with the lulav. So we're going to try to recycle the heilig lulav, and we're going to use it to burn the chametz. Again, chas v'shalom. Even if somebody's doing it this year, please don't say I'm burning my lulav. The lulav didn't do anything. The only time that we burn a lulav, Rabbi say, is anybody remember? Ir anidachas, and ir anidachas all shaila by burning the lulav. But otherwise, we don't burn the lulav, but we use the lulav to burn the chametz. So over here, why is that different?
The esrog, they make esrog jam out of the esrog, no?
Yeah. But that's also after Yom Tov, right? So Rav says like this. Rav says,
put the lulav in and then put the chametz in, right?
we put the lulav in. Yeah, we use it to make the fire. Yeah, but you can really go either way. It doesn't matter. Let's say you're moving the chametz around in the fire with the lulav. That's also fine. You can't
use it to stoke the fire.
To stoke the fire. That's fine. That's also good. So anyway, so what Rav is saying over here is that because the Ner Chanukah, this is its moment in the sun, so to speak. It's the mitzvah now, so you can't use it just to light another mitzvah because that's busy mitzvahs. What do you mean? Maybe this mitzvah was just as important as the next mitzvah. L'mashal, the fifth Ner to the sixth Ner, etc., etc. But many points can point out a very interesting thing. What did we learn yesterday? Ner ish ubeisa. The ikr mitzvah of Ner Chanukah is one Ner. That's the first one. So if you use the first one to light the second one, so it was mamish ma'ridim b'kodesh. You hear what the Rishonim say? Unbelievable chap. The Briskus explained that at great length. But the point is that the first Ner is really the Ikar Mitzvah. So then so what are you lighting now? You're lighting the Hiddur, Mahadrin. And then Mahadrim and a Mahadrim, whichever one you're lighting. So from 5 to 6, 6 to 7 might not be so bad. From 1 to 2, everybody l'chara would agree, that's what the Achronim say, that you can't light from one to the other. Okay, let's go further. So time of the Rabbi Bishum Bizur Mitzvah. So Amalahu, so Ravada Barahava said, Loi Titzai don't listen to this one. Morah, we don't know who his name was. I don't know why. So time of the Rav Bishum de Komachish Mitzvah. Rav's reason wasn't because of Bizur Mitzvah. Rav's shot was because you're diminishing the mitzvah. It's a very strange concept that it could be that when you're lighting, so you're taking a little bit of the oil with you, so to speak. There's a lot of pshatim in what exactly the person is doing, and you're not so much being mevaza the mitzvah, but you're lessening the mitzvah. You're bringing the mitzvah down. Those are two different concepts. Let's go a little bit further. My benayu, the Gemara Taka asked, what's the chiluk between these two shittas? So the difference is like this: if you're lighting directly, so Mandi Mishum Bizay Mitzvah. So the one that said it's Bizayin, so Mishraga Shaga Madlik, so you could light because there's no real Bizayin, because you're going from a real mitzvah to a mitzvah, because you're not using like a wood chip or what we would say is probably a match in between. But Mandi Mishum Achushe Mitzvah, but the one who says that the problem is that you're reducing the mitzvah, so Mishraga Shaga Nami also, because it would seem that you're reducing, once you're lighting the wick, so you also, it seems like you're taking some oil. So most Rishonim learn that it only seems that way. It's like mamish, like a kind of like when you have a person that looks like he's doing an aveira. So what's the problem? It's either chashad or it's a marasayin. Machlokes Rishonim, by the way, if chashad and marasayin are identical or not. But if you want an interesting place to look this up in the Encyclopedia Talmudis, I forgot which volume, under ches chashad. So he has a whole section over there, machlokes, many paiskim, if chashad and marasayin are identical. But in any case, that's what it is. It looks bad. Really, you're not doing anything. You're not taking any oil. You're taking fire. When let's say you light a fire for one fire, you're not reducing the fire, but it looks a little bit bad. So we're worried over being about chashad or marasayin. Okay, now, what's if Rav Avia asked the kasha? He asked the kasha like this. We're going to ask the kasha from de deconsecrating Meiser Sheni. So Sela shall Meiser. Now we're going to go to Amid Bais. Shall Meiser Sheni. So let's say that you had already deconsecrated some Meiser Sheni onto money. What's the shot with Meiser Sheni? You're really supposed to take it to Meiser Sheni to Yerushalayim and eat it in Yerushalayim. But what if it's a lot of fruit and you can't schlep it? So you deconsecrate the Meiser Sheni. You put it onto money. The money now takes on the kedusha of the Meiser Sheni, and then you buy stuff in Yerushalayim. So it says, "Ein sheikel kenegdoi din reizov." So now that you weighed, in the old days, you had to weigh silver and even coins, because sometimes the coins had lost the amount. Like even today, just a little bit. A coin that might be defaced or something, it might not really be worth anything in the market. So I feel the chalul of my sesheni acha. So you can't even, let's say, even if you're using it, say if you stop using it to measure something for yourself on one of these scale things, the balance scales. So then naturally, if you're weighing your own fruits against Ma'aser Sheni, so that would be a bizoyan. But even Ma'aser Sheni you can't do. So he asked like this: if you say Kipliga Rav Shmuel Mener Lener, what are they arguing only about? If you light from one ner to another, Avo Bekinsa. But if you're using, again, I'm going to say a match, and some of the Gemara meant a little piece of wood, a wood chip. Avo Bekinsa also Shmuel. But if it's when you're lighting it, so with a match, so even Shmuel holds it's also. So then it's not a kasha, but because Eli Ahmed Bekinsa Nami Shori. But if you say that Shmuel holds that you can even use a wood chip or a match, so hatavi tiyufta, so then that would be a kasha, because as the Gemara explains, so according to this opinion of Shmuel, so the Amayra that we didn't know his name, that disagrees with Travada Barahava, so he would be the one that would hold like this. So since Shmuel holds different than Raita, so then that Amayra would not be right. So the Gemara says, Amarabba Gzeira. So what this means is it's only a Gzeira. Shemli Chaven Mishkaloisav, because really the emphasis is you could use this to balance your scale, and you could figure out, how much the fruits weigh and how much the other Ma'aser Sheni weighs. But what's the problem? Because what's going to happen is maybe the scale is not going to, it's not going to balance out. And then when you're going to say that this dinner is going to remain, in other words, you're not going to deconsecrate it at all because somehow the scale didn't work out. So then what's going to happen? You will have done it for nothing. So since there's a possibility that this you will not use this for another mitzvah, so we don't let you use it at all. But it's only exerim. Be'etzim, it's not us. That's what the Gemara is saying. So now the Gemara seems to say that the machlokes of Rav and Shmuel, so the Gemara says both opinions were wrong. Most of Rav Sheshes says the kasha from the Bais Hamikdash. It says michutz leparochos edus yaroch. So now this is also a little bit negeya Chanukah. This is our sugya of Chanukah. We think we're in the middle of Pesach over here, but we're really in the middle of Chanukah. So it says that where should you light the menorah? Outside the parochos. So it sounds like Chas v'Shalom that we're lighting it so people in the Bais Hamikdash can be able to see something. The whole 40 years that they were in the middle, they only traveled by the light that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us. So we don't have to light menorahs for Hashem to be able to see in His holy places, the Bais Hamikdash, the Mishkan. This was an eidus for the entire world. The Cloud Yisrael has a Rabbi Shalom that's like, what we're saying now. Look at that. God runs the world. There's nobody else, no doctors, nobody's in charge. Only the Rabbi Shalom. Shashchina Shor Yisrael. Versus my Edus, what was the Edus? What exactly Edus over here that Shchina Shora? Amarav Zuner Maravi. Because by the Ner Maravi, the westernmost Ner, now this will be Negei, I'll show you in a minute, our shuls, including our shul, especially where you light in shul. Because the Ner Maravi, which was obviously in the Bais Hamikdash, the one that was furthest to the west, but it's not so obvious because it's a machlokes if the menorah stood east-west or north-south in the Bais Hamikdash. So it said like this: So the Ner Maravi, theoretically, it was just one ner. So if it stood east-west, so then it was the westernmost ner. If it stood north-south, then it was the middle one. But either way, they only put in the same amount of oil as they put into all the other ones. And now we're going to go according to most Rishonim. Now, what does that mean? That every night they used to be madlik the other neros from the ner maravi, and then on the next day, so when they would prepare the neros, they would start from the ner maravi. So the Gemara says, "V'hacha chiv the kviya neros." So over here, the problem is like this: there was a machlokes exactly how the menorah was structured. So was everything attached? All the branches, one could not be removed from the center branch, and that means that the ner maravi could not be used ever to light the others because it was the middle. So so it was impossible to light all the other ones from the ner maravi because they're all fixed. So kasha, that would be a kasha. So what was the big nace? So according to the Mandi Omer that you're not allowed to light from one to the other, so it's because of Bizuya Mitzvah. Or the one that says that you're reducing it. So either way, there would be a kasha. So I said, no, it's not such a kasha. Rav Papa said, maybe they had such long wicks that you could take the wick from one and like just move it over to the next one. So it wasn't such a kasha. You could light from one to the other. But it says, but still, even if let's say you could theoretically do it, but maybe it looks like you're reducing the other mitzvah. But it says kasha, that's taka kasha. Whereas my havela, what's the halacha? Can you be madlik miner l'ner or not? Where it says Amar Avuna Bered Yeshua said chazina. So first, let's take a look exactly. When did you do this mitzvah? Iyad and how do you do the mitzvah? Iyad loka oisa mitzvah is the main thing, the hadlaka. So when you light it, so madlika miner l'ner, so then you can light from one ner to another ner. So how come you can light from one ner to another ner? Because in the Bais Hamikdash, there wouldn't be a problem, because even Rav would allow it, because you're doing the mitzvah of lighting the menorah, and by Chanukah also you're doing a mitzvah. V'anochos mitzvah, so mainly you're in the middle of doing a mitzvah. It's not a problem. But if you hold anochos mitzvah, where you put it down and how you put it down, that's the final mitzvah. Say madlikim ner l'ner, because how could you light from one ner to another? You're not doing the mitzvah yet. Because we had a shaila, halacha, hadlaka oisa mitzvah, oyanocha oisa mitzvah. What is exactly the mitzvah? So the Gemara says Toshma, and now we're going to try to resolve this. So what's the shaila? The Amar Rava once said, let's say a guy was holding the ner Chanukah in his hand. It seems, by the way, from this Gemara, that maybe it wasn't a menorah, it was just one candle. It was either the first night, or it was before they made the takana of ner ishu beis, then mahadran, and mahadran. So, or they didn't have so many candles because it says ner. It sounds like it was just holding one ner. Anyway, they discussed this. So if he's standing there and he's holding a ner, so he didn't accomplish anything. So you see that if he never put it down, he never did the mitzvah. So Umar says, no, that's not such a kasha. Why? Because Hasam Haraya Omer. So because why wouldn't he be yaitse? It has nothing to do with Hanacha Oisim Mitzvah, Hadlaka Oisim Mitzvah. Litzarchu Denakitla. People will say, just like today, let's say you lit a flashlight and people say, oh, he's looking for something. They will say he's holding the ner because he's looking for something. That's how they used to walk around at night with neris in their hand. So nobody would see that he's doing a mitzvah. So I think Umar says Toshma. Let's take a look at the opposite side. So the Amar Rava said, Hidlika bifnim, let's say you lit the Chanukah menorah inside, Voitzia, and you took it out. So that's what today, those in Eretz Yisrael that light outside, so they don't light it inside, even though it's very hard sometimes to avoid the wind. They have these like boxes and everything else, so you can avoid the wind. But Hidlika bifnim, let's say you lit it on the inside and then you brought it out, Le'osa klum, so you didn't accomplish anything. If the hadlaka is the mitzvah, so hadlaka b'makayma bina. So you need hadlaka at the right place, and the inside is not the right place in the olden days. The main mitzvah was outdoors. Mitzvah, but if you say that putting it down is a mitzvah, he lit it and then he brought the menorah outside. So what's the problem? So you see l'chayra from here that we can paskin that hadlaka is a mitzvah. Mercy says no, it's still no raya. Hasanami haraya hu aimer, the person that sees him doing that says litzarko hu da'adlaka. Maybe he lit it in the house and used it in the house, and then he carried it outside. So how does anybody know his kavana? So that's why it's no raya at all. So I thought maybe we'll stop by Toshma. The Omer of Yeshua ben Levi Ashoshis. So I think we'll stop over here because I also wanted to speak something out and I need a little bit of discussion. So first we'll do Torah, then I have to make a little bit of a change in the schedule. So first of all, let me see. Wanted to just mention over here. I started a little bit in the beginning. So just this Shaila, David actually brought it up last week about being madlik in a house and the menorah is higher than 20 than Esrim Amma, than 20 Amma, which is 40 feet. It's a big house, and you put it up very high, or the Shaila Bichlal of being on a second floor. So the Torah brings from a Rabbeinu Yoel. I know. Shekol apostle shol apsul shol ner chanik l'mal meser mamo hu davka shedlika b'chutz. He says, avon lika b'ser chabayis v'gavoy me'esrim l'mal meser mamo ain't an ifsal. That's what he says. The Torah brings this down and disagrees with him. This Rabbeinu Yoel. He says like this: She'ein lo v'rayim misukah. He says, because he brings a right from Sukkah. So he says, you have a halacha, and by the way, I want to tell you something. A lot of people are not makbid on this, so it's kedai maybe way in advance, holding by Pesach, to mention a Sukkah's halacha. It says, my Rebbe Tain is that it says, L'man yedu daresechen ki b'sukkahs hashafti. There's a din of yediyah. Where's the yediyah? The yediyah is when you see the schach. Like I mentioned, the big Rebbe Sukkahs, so it's very hard to look up Esther Mama, but you have to force yourself. But let's see, even our sukkahs, sometimes we don't look up. You're busy, you're looking at your family, looking what you remember what guests are? There's a thing called guests. I know it's a very, very forgotten concept right now. But when you have guests in your sukkah, halavai mitzvah Hashem, you should have guests on Pesach and sukkahs mitzvah Hashem. But the guests, so you're talking to your guests. So you forgot about the schach. So he says, the Torah says, so he says, this is the Torah, Rabbi say. It's the makar of most of our halacha, because we don't follow the Rambam very often. We follow the line of Torah, Shulchan Aruch, and then Ramah, etc. But anyway, so the Torah says that when you have walls, so your eye catches the wall, and then you look up, like I mentioned before. So he says, but by Chanukah, Abu b'nei Chanukah and Shecha ben Kiris lebeis Bais l'ner. The wall, what does the wall have to do with your menorah? So if your menorah is l'mayla mi'asrim amma, so then you have a problem. You're not really seeing it. It's very, very high up. So, but that's not negaya a second floor, because in the second floor, let's say you have 8-foot ceilings, 10-foot ceilings. It's not a problem. A 10-foot ceiling, but almost nobody puts a menorah right under the ceiling. It's dangerous, right? So this would not be a problem. Okay, that was one thing that I wanted to mention. Let me see if I have another moment. Now, I mentioned about where to light in shul. So the Torah brings down, so it's very interesting that the Torah holds that every time, not at home, but in shul that we light, so it's a different mitzvah. And that's why everybody always asks, when we're mechabed somebody to light, by us it's usually Mr. Gross. So Gesundheit, I just spoke to him on the phone. So the person is making a bracha, and then he goes on, makes another bracha. Wait, wasn't he yaitz already? So the Torah says, according to the Torah, it's not a problem because it's a different mitzvah. In the shul is a mikdash ma'at. The Yecheskel says, va'ele ha-mikdash ma'at. So you're just remembering the shul. So in the shul, I'm saying, you're remembering the Beis HaMikdash in our mikdash ma'at. So it's not a problem. That's why I'm just going through the Torah over here. So he says, he brings a truma said the Bais Yosef brings a truma sadeshin. Sheyesh mekayim sheminichim esaner sachanuk beMizrach l'mayriv. And plus, some places they put it between east and west. Some place they put it between north and south. Why? He brings the Gemara in Machlokes Tanaim in Menachos Daf Tzadik Ches. Was the menorah east-west or north-south? So Mamela, what should we do? So generally, when the shul is Mizrach, a shul is mamish east, due east, so you put it in Durham. I'm always, every year I go through this parsha again and again, that when the shul is not due east, there's a big shaila if you should put it in Durham or not. That's what always comes up by us. So just mentioning a little bit of halacha l'maisa. Oh, so I want to just finish off with this. Haneres halol u'kaidushem. So this is the Mishnah, the Brisa rather, in Seifrim says, Shetzorch le'maner halol u'kaidushem. So Mefarshim, so the Avudraham, I'm quoting now from the in the back of my Gemara, the Masifta. So in the Yalkut Biurim, so he brings from the Avudraham. So yes, Haneres halol u'kaidushem shrein kedusha b'neres atzma. Where didn't we just say that the neres don't have kedusha? So the Avudraham says Shaneres nikru kodesh mipnei shechachom tikna lokas ner Chanukah zechel menorah. So he says a big chiddush to Avudraham that if not for the fact that even at home our menorah is a shtikala menorah like the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash. The Dema says it's not because it's got 8. Forget about the shamas. It's got 8 neres. And the one in the Beis Hamikdash had 7, so it's not exact, but it defines and it derives its kedusha from the Beis Hamikdash. So that's why the Avudraham says not like this Gemara Pilaployim that the neres have kedusha. So it sounds a little bit like the Avudraham is coming against the Gemara. So the Sfasema says. So he says that this Avudraham is going like the Rav that holds that it's asur to use the menorah even for a mitzvah, and that's what the Baal HaMorah holds also. So that's Rav asur ner Chanukah kemenorah. The ner Chanukah became like menorah. Okay. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say tonight. A lot more I'd love to say. So here's Rabbi say. Here's my problem. We do have some people in the house that are symptomatic. Baruch Hashem, it's all being taken care of. I'm not Baruch Hashem, but the house is, and the morning is a little bit more difficult. So I really can't, at least at the moment, might change, but hopefully it'll all change soon. Anyway, we're going to be back in shul. Bais Hashem is Baruch. Could be the Nisim of Chodesh Nisan, Nisim of Pesach, and we'll hopefully be back in shul soon. But at the moment, at least for this week until Yom Tov, and then we'll decide right before Yom Tov what we're going to do Chalamayit. The Yom Tov we can't learn like this. So anybody, I'm really open after the morning, like anywhere from about 12 or 1 o'clock. I'm available. Any suggestions, and then we'll, I'm going to turn it over to you. I can't do mornings now for a couple of days at least, because I'm like waking everybody up, and I'm just sometimes needed a little bit to do something. So if anybody
first is the Rav staying safe and out of harm's way.
So I'll tell you the truth. We have this. In fact, that's where I'm going next. Is these Rabbonim conferences with doctors. So the doctors tell us. I was talking on the phone. Nothing's in person these days, to Dr. Akiva Bergman, and I think he said he spoke to Dr. Glatt, Rabbi Dr. Glatt also, that people in the house, it's a good thing to know, so there's no such thing as quarantining from each other, because we're all, we're on top of each other. So we have taken precautions in the house to whatever extent possible. Meantime is it's not really possible. So, I happen to think I went through some, precaution. Besides the precautions, I went through some symptoms myself, and Baruch Hashem, I think they're better, and I think I'm okay. Bez Hashem, but we all have to daven for each other. So I think we're okay. So yes, but nobody's moving out, nobody's moving in. We are what we are. So
we got to keep the shiur going because that's what's keeping us safe.
Good, Bez Hashem. So, but what time should the shiur be?
I don't know. What about at night? Is that possible?
At night's fine by me. I don't want to have Rabbi Han on the pictures on the phone, so I don't want to mess around with his 9. Ari, you still at 9:05?
So Ari's a few nights.
Yes, not 9:05. It's not just me, Tully too, but
okay, Ari, Tully, all the wonderful people. So I don't want to conflict with that.
He's a different league though. It's like the American League and the National League. It doesn't conflict.
Itzy, you should have said it's the big league and the minor league, not the American and the National League.
No. Ari and Tully hit home runs every day. I have a friend.
The senior leagues and the junior league.
I have a very chashuv friend who's a very chashuv Rav, and he tells me once. He says, a drush is like when you hit the ball. Sometimes you hit a home run. Sometimes you get a single, you get a double, you get a triple, and if you're very lucky, you do what happens when you knock them all in. It's a
grand slam.
Grand slam. Sometimes you do a grand slam, but you don't do a grand slam every day, and you don't do a home run every day. So Baruch Hashem, Ari, Tully, they do home runs. I'm happy when I get a single or a double. But anyway, so I just don't want. I don't want to do it at the same time. I don't think it's right. And like this, we're giving everybody some options.
Right.
Nobody right now is in the same matzav as the rest of the year. So I'd like to.
So the Rav's evenings work, and then we'll see if it works.
Yeah. So I can't. We usually have our conferences are usually at 10 o'clock. So I can't do 10 o'clock because we've been having a lot of Rabbanim conferences where we, Be'ezus Hashem, try to make decisions for the whole town. But they're almost never earlier than 10 o'clock because everybody's busy till 10 o'clock. So I can do
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock's fine. Rabbi say is it Nimnu v'Gamru 8 o'clock?
But then I think the Monday night Rav has a different share at 8:15, right?
Right. That's true. Monday night I've been doing 8:15 and 9 o'clock. That's true. But it's earlier.
7:30. Does that work better?
Yeah, 7:30. Well, 7:30 takes. Oh, 7:30 takes me to 8:15. That's fine. Yeah. All right, I can do that. All right. 7:30. Rabbi say good.
Right,
So it starts tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. All right. The Ezer Hashem is Borach, and we're taking care of the chametz. I don't know from. I'm not saying names, but I got from everybody confirmation over the phone that they're appointing me. So you can call me, and if you can, email me the just the document back, the shtar.
Right.
Okay, and but you don't have to sign it. Some people find it very hard to sign online, so that's not a problem because you're appointing me. That's the kinyan. And then I'll take care of it, Mitzvah Hashem. I'm also doing, I don't think it's negay anybody here, but I may be wrong. I am doing a Mechiras Yud Gimel for anybody that has an apartment in Eretz Yisrael where they might have chametz. I don't think anybody's going to Eretz Yisrael right now, as far as I know. But please don't go on a cruise wherever you go. Okay, please. I'm begging you. All right. So, okay, so we'll continue, Mitzvah Hashem. We're learning about Hanukkah, and we'll have the Nisim of Hanukkah because we're learning it, and we'll have the Nisim of Nisan, and we'll have the Nisim, Mitzvah Hashem, of Pesach, and David will help him, Mitzvah Hashem, with the Kedusha of Malava Malka tonight, that will be Zoich. Everybody should be well. We should have all the Chadim, should have Refuas, for Yeshuas. We should be together, Mitzvah Hashem, and dance and sing and make Simchas, Be'ezer Hashem Yisbarach.
Amen.
Rabbi, is there any to buy new begadim for this Yantiv? Or it doesn't...
I don't think it's personally. I don't think it's rational. I mean, like you have to buy your wife something, because you owe her one, But I don't think she can go shopping. I don't think you can go shopping for her. So if anybody wants to order something online, then for clothing it's a little bit hard. You have to try it on. I don't know, but it says in Shulchan Aruch, the Rambam brings that you should buy clothing for your wife, or she should buy. But it's a little bit hard now, so you'll put it off like a lot of things that we're putting off. And Mitzvah Hashem will be zeicha to do it l'shana haba b'Yerushalayim.